Alright, Chapter 4, Section 1, Congruent figures. So remember, congruent, which we symbolize like that, a wavy line over an equal sign, means same size, same shape. So congruent and you want to write that down. Same size, same shape. And then on page 117 it gives an example of a triangle. So ABC and DEF are congruent, and they got the triangles. We got ABC, DEF. Okay, now what they're talking about here, it's important to understand. If ABC is congruent to DEF, then that means angle A is congruent to angle D. Remember, this is an angle. This is an angle. It's two rays joined at a vertex, and we measure an angle by the amount of rotation. So A is associated with D, B with E, and C with F. Okay, so we would have triangle ABC congruent to triangle DEF. Okay. And I think in older textbooks they didn't do it this way. In modern ones they will. So A and D are congruent, the angles. B and E are congruent, and C and F are congruent. Okay. But then also segment AB is congruent to segment DE. So AB and DE, these lengths are the same. Segment BC is congruent to segment EF. This length is the same as this. So first two letters go with first two, last two with last two, and outsides AC with outside DF. So it's convention to arrange it in that order. So that's what we mean by the congruence. They're talking about corresponding angles and corresponding sides on that page. And on the next page they're defining congruent. So it says congruent triangles are triangles whose vertices can be matched up so that their corresponding parts are congruent. Okay? And so it's kind of like we can get this triangle and pick it up and put it on this one, and it'll exactly overlap. When they exactly overlap, they're congruent. And because of that, we have something called, let me write this down. CPCTC. We're going to be using that in proofs a lot, so make sure you memorize that, write it down, put it on flashcards. This means corresponding parts of congruent triangles are congruent. So I'll write it down. Corresponding parts of congruent triangles are congruent. And notice the grammar of it. Of congruent triangles is a prepositional phrase. If you eliminate that and look at the subject and verb, it says parts are, and then the adjective congruent. Parts are congruent. So the parts of the triangles are what's congruent. But you have to have congruent triangles for this to happen. this is the main idea, and this is the context, congruent triangles. Okay? So that's section 4.1.